Yesterday morning, I came across a Toronto police press release that made me reroute my entire day. This is what the press release read. Four suspects vandalized several City of Toronto properties using spray paint. The vandalism included profanity and language relating to the Middle East conflict. Three of the suspects were located by officers and placed under arrest. There is currently one outstanding male suspect. He's described as approximately 4'8" with a skinny build, wearing a winter coat and riding a two-wheel kick scooter. The press release didn't mention what the graffiti was, just that it was related to, quote, the Middle East conflict. Now, as soon as I finished reading this, I started receiving in my DMs in Instagram videos and footage of the graffiti. Now, this came from someone who works in the neighborhood. His name is Jag, and he was kind enough to share the images with me. As you can see, the messaging is quite disturbing, and it wasn't just in one or two spots. As I read to you, the press release points out that the assailants are charged with 17 counts of mischief. CCTV was also shared with me from the neighborhood, and you can see the four assailants here with their stencil in hand. Brenda Hoffman, 71 years old, Noam Lambden, 54 years old, and Robert Walker, 39 years old. The fourth suspect, as we noted, is still at large. This all took place on Wednesday, November 13th at around 11 p.m. Now, this wasn't the first time that this had happened in this exact neighborhood, according to business owners in the area. This also happened about a month ago, but city cleaners just came and cleaned up all the hateful messaging. No police, no media, no nothing. I spoke this morning with a business owner in the area, and here's what she had to tell me.
Could you tell me, as a business owner, what this has meant for you as a community and what you would like to see the police reaction be?
Yeah, absolutely. So, because there's been messages right in front of my shop, um, I was hoping that the police would at least come speak to us and reassure us around, what they're planning to do with this kind of hate messaging, and ideally someone from like a hate crimes unit. As a business owner, it's made me feel very much like the community is not quite a safe place. There hasn't been, this is the second time it's happening. The first time we had graffiti right on our steps as well. Someone from the city just came in and kind of power washed it away, and that was it. There was no recognition of the violent messaging. And because I run a children's shop, I've got lots of kids coming in with their parents to our store, and um, it really bothers me, the thought of that they would see that kind of violence and hate messaging right there in the open. I've actually made a couple of attempts to put like a welcome mat on top or something like that, but I wish it wasn't me having to take responsibility for that, but that the community would come together and condone this. It's been very disappointing to see that there hasn't been any kind of statement or acknowledgement from our local BIA, from our local politicians, from the police. Like, it's just been very quiet.
You mentioned hate messaging, and the three people, the suspects that have been charged with mischief, not with a hate crime. What do you make of that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that feels incredibly I feel incredibly uncomfortable about that, to be honest. Like, to me, this isn't the same as just, regular graffiti, which it is what appears that they've been charged with. This is, you know, asking for an entire ethnicity of people, an entire region, to be effed in their words. And it really feels like just the severity of what the messaging is, and the reaction from the police hasn't been the same.
So clearly, there is a difference between how the Toronto police deal with anti-Palestinian racism versus anti-Semitism here in Toronto. The fact that these three people were only charged with mischief speaks volumes in and of itself. Now, I did put a request in to the Toronto police, and they quickly assured me, they responded to my email, that they would get back to me promptly. But nothing yet. So, who are these three people who were charged and arrested? Noam Lambden, 54. I found an old CBC story with Noam from 2017. He was crossing the exact same street in that CBC story in the neighborhood, and the school of that neighborhood is also mentioned in the exact story. Also, Noam Lambden is very well known to activists for Palestine in Toronto. They refer to him as the milk carton guy. Apparently, whenever there is some sort of Free Palestine rally in that neighborhood, Noam is there with a giant milk carton. You can see him here with his big milk carton standing. Within the first couple of hours of this press release, Noam's design website was still up. Some of his clients are Rogers Media, St. Joseph's Media, etc. But as the day progressed, Noam's website, his LinkedIn, and his Facebook, everything just disappeared. So we know who Noam is. But what about Robert Walker, 39? This gets interesting. Robert Walker graduated from the University of Ottawa in 2007 in journalism. He went on to be Director of Communications for the Israeli Embassy in Canada in 2009. Now, is this the same Robert Walker who is currently the Assistant Director of Honest Reporting Canada? Honest Reporting is a Canadian outfit of an American spawn that likes to target journalists and media outlets that don't toe the Israeli state line. And yours truly is a favorite target of theirs. Now, requests were put into Honest Reporting by The Grind and myself, asking if this was their man. But after more than, I think, about 40 hours now, there has been zero response. It's a simple question. Yes or no? Is this your man or not? Since Honest Reporting is ignoring the question, chances are pretty good that it's him, but we can't be sure at this point. The best way to verify is to show up on January 3rd at 2 p.m. where he is due in court to face these charges. On the Line Media will be there. And once we do hear from the police and Honest Reporting, hopefully, we will update this story.